Iris Wen here, live with you from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. You might be wondering why I'm here, and the answer is that we are always looking for more high-quality, impact-driven companies for our pipeline to put your money to work and create more jobs. But right now, I'm going to give you an update on our existing companies in the portfolio. And we are truly delighted by how this group of companies bring our fund's vision to life. So let's start with our most recent addition to the portfolio, Kivu Tilapia in Rwanda. Kivu Tilapia is a fish farming business. And I can tell you that being out on that lake between Rwanda and DRC is exhilarating. You can see the impact that this company has in that densely populated region of both countries. They provide nutritious and affordable protein to hundreds of communities in very poor areas where that is often unattainable. And they also employ staff from the villages surrounding the lake, providing much steadier income and more formalized income than smallholder fish farming. A wonderful CEO, Charles, cares deeply about training his staff as well. All right, let's go to Kenya now, where we have Kentegra. And this one just keeps growing like the chrysanthemum flowers their farmers harvest, which these flowers grow fast and persistently, just like this company. Incredible to think that when we made the first investment 3 years ago, they were only at 300,000 in revenue. And now we're expecting 8 million in sales by the end of this year. 8,000 smallholder farmers, which grew 100% from a year ago. 286 full-time employees, also over 100% growth from a year ago. Yet these numbers don't describe the stories of a farmer who paid for all of her children's school fees through a drought in Kenya, because this miracle crop is so hardy and continued to give her income when other crops failed. And Kentegra was there to buy it. Very humbling to see God bless this business. Masaka Creamery, you will hear from Luke and Kenneth in a few minutes, so I won't give too much away from Masaka Creamery, but this has been an incredible year for them in multiple fronts. A new plant, a new brand, record sales, but most of all, this deep love and commitment to their deaf staff, which makes up 50% of the company's employees. It's truly incredible, and you'll hear more in a few minutes from them in Rwanda. So let's jump over now to Enda in Kenya. Enda is one of our most high-profile companies because they are a deep pride of the Kenyan running culture. They sell performance running shoes manufactured in Kenya. This one has been our most challenging business. It's really tough to compete in the global market in running shoes, but it's a testament to their strong brand and especially their CEO, Nava, who is a dynamic female CEO, that more than one strategic buyer has now stepped up to say, we want to make this brand a reality. And Talanton continues to provide our encouragement and support to the company through these negotiations. With these new potential buyers, we're very hopeful that the mission of Enda to bring manufacturing to Kenya will still be a reality in the long run. We're going to hop countries now to Burundi, where we have some coffee. Long Miles Coffee. They support over 8,800 coffee farmers through their coffee scouts. When we made our first investment, Long Miles was only in Burundi, and now they have expanded to Uganda and Kenya. Not without challenges, of course. Sometimes doing business in Africa is 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but things are moving forward for Long Miles. We walked alongside Long Miles through some bumps, restructured their loan when the rains didn't come and the crops didn't yield. And 2022 was a good recovery year for them. Ben Carlson also gets some great mentorship from John Halverson through their C12 group. And Ben and his wife, Christy, and their children are setting up to move to Nairobi in 6 to 9 months. So they would certainly appreciate prayer for that transition from us. Jumping over to a different sector now, our only investment in the education sector in Kenya. Put simply, Taraji is in the business of making future leaders of integrity for Kenya, which is why we love this business so much. We're excited to announce that Taraji has been able to successfully raise capital from a local Kenyan bank and has retired a significant portion of Talanton's investment. Considering the challenging situation that Taraji has faced through COVID since our first investment, this is a remarkable achievement and highlights Priska and her team's resilience. But now Taraji is facing another challenge at the moment. The lease for one of their schools was not renewed due to a change in land ownership. So they are now scrambling to find a new location for that school. And we are looking for the right way to come alongside Priska once again so that her students can continue to thrive. All right, let's go back to Rwanda for PRI. I'm not going to steal Ray and JD's thunder here. You'll hear from them in a minute, but I did talk about being on a lake with Kivu just a minute ago. And I think it's biblical to also mention being on top of a mountain. Not sure if the mine quite qualifies as a mountain, but I'll say that when I stood on top of the mine and saw the metal roofs on the many houses in the villages below reflecting the sun, that is the proof of PRI's blessing on those communities. And this company is highly impactful, powerfully demonstrates how ethical and environmentally beneficial mining can and should be done. And you'll hear from Ray in a little bit. All right, come with me now to Uganda, where we have Raboni, a maize processing business. Raboni has had significant challenges, starting from COVID, which impacted Uganda severely. Raboni had difficulties to complete their warehouse and get their flour milling equipment set up. They had some cash flow issues, and we recently helped them fund a CFO, which is improving their financial reporting. We're seeing signs of this one turning the corner now and proving resilient in the face of difficult circumstances. They have the flour mill now running, a CFO in place, and have some working capital for this season. And we're working with them to fill performance gaps with the possibility of a second tranche early in 2024. Next is our fintech business, Pezesha. Pezesha is a Swahili word that means financial enabler. They are serving thousands of micro and small entrepreneurs with working capital loans through their tech platforms. They recently received a critical license approval as a digital credit provider from the Central Bank of Kenya, which is a huge deal and very difficult to obtain. Hilda Mora, shown here, the founder and CEO, is also an inspiration to many women in the tech industry. At the age of 24, she had sold her first fintech business, which was at the time the first acquisition of a tech startup in Africa. When I asked some of the young data scientists at Pezesha, why did you join the company? Many of them said, I wanted to work with Hilda. She's a great leader and the company has a lot of potential to grow. Moving to the most mature company in our portfolio, also the one that has the most number of employees, 750 full-time employees, more than 200 of them added just in the first half of this year. Burr Manufacturing has a world-class factory that many of our other portfolio companies can aspire to. Talanton's project has distributed 120,000 cook stoves, which has many, many benefits to the user's health, the environment, and jobs created to make those stoves. Burn also distributes their stoves through over 5,000 vendors across Africa, adding another layer of employment in the economy. So we'll go from one of our biggest investments to our smallest, Other World Pharmaceuticals, OWP. Even though this is a very small investment that was grandfathered into our portfolio, it has deep and wide impact that is worth sharing. OWP's foundation, ROW, has given thousands of people with epilepsy and other neurological disorders access to medications that they otherwise cannot afford in developing countries. Many of these people could not work or be considered for a job without these medication and interventions. OWP has thousands of beneficiaries across 37 countries and are growing these numbers each year. And finally, last but certainly not least, Moko, the IKEA of East Africa. I'll let you watch that video, that GIF for a second, dropping that from that height, that sofa. Moko employs over 250 full-time employees and 300 part-time employees. But alongside jobs, Moko is a great example of additional externalities, in this case for the environment. Talanton's investment into Moko helped them to expand into adjacent product lines, predominantly made of timber. So this would include sofas, bed frames, side tables, TV, cabinets, and so on. These are typically sold in the informal market and not sourced sustainably, which poses a huge environmental risk. Moko has now created a sourcing strategy that enables them to sustainably source timber from smallholder farmers in Tanzania, helping those farmers to achieve a far higher price per ton of timber than through wholesale timber mills. Moko is currently sourcing 20% of their timber directly from farmers and plan to increase this to 100%. And lastly, they have already reached over 500,000 customers, which makes them the only mass market furniture brand in Africa. And they do it all with a smile. All right. Whew, so that was quite a run. Let's summarize our impact on the portfolio here. By the end of this year, we expect full-time jobs across our portfolio to be over 2,000, part-time jobs to be near 3,700, and over 25,000 farmers and direct suppliers served. We also care deeply about the quality and inclusiveness of jobs, which you might have picked up from almost all of our companies. All of them promote it in various ways. And finally, it's part of Talanton's heartbeat to serve, mentor, and pray for our CEOs. We believe that true impact first starts with faith and values-based leadership of a company. This is the leading indicator to the social, spiritual, and financial impact we want to see. So we believe values-based leadership is worth investing in. And we'll end with a couple of comments on our financial performance. We now have more than 18 million of investments and commitments into the 12 portfolio companies, plus one that our IC just approved last week. Our invested capital is mainly in Kenya and Rwanda, and with other important investments in Uganda and Burundi. We're particularly excited by both the agriculture and manufacturing sectors. These sectors create fantastic low-skilled work opportunities, which lift whole families and communities out of poverty. Cantegra and PRI are two of the most important investments in our portfolio, not just in value, but also in terms of the redemption of entire industries in their respective countries. And a final note, the portfolio has delivered consistent positive returns despite some early headwinds with COVID and the global economic shocks of the past 18 months. We've seen positive returns in 8 of the last 10 quarters, which means all investors entering the fund at the start of 2021 have seen their capital grow. So I hope that was super encouraging to you, our investor, to see how the portfolio is doing. And that's all for me from Tanzania.